Ella Cinema back, another dish. How about if we do a take two up in Mya right now? So, as you see on your dial, Adam Stovall Part 2, the sequel. I thought about calling it Endgame, but I don't want our relationship or my relationship with this film, as it turns out, I don't want it to be an Endgame. So we're just going to stick with the sequel. So, boy.
The new batch.
Yes. Let's do the new batch. First of all, we at Ellis Cinema here, boy, we are limping to May's finish line. I tell you what, it has been a month. All good stuff. As I was talking to Adam before the mics were on, just, sometimes, actually he put it much better than I did. Sometimes you overschedule stuff so much, but it's all positive that even though positive, sometimes you forget how to be just a human being, and you're just like, all right, yeah, I got to take a step back. I got to get my eyes off the screen. I need to maybe a little meditation somewhere in there to kind of clear the head, because we just cranking them out. So this show is actually for the people that were a part of this incredible experience that we had a few weeks back. So long story short, a few weeks ago, or maybe a couple weeks ago, I decided to do my first screening under the Ellis Cinema banner. So first and foremost, to everyone that came out, holy shit, I did not expect that type of response for little old me who does a podcast without video, which I get bitched at for all the time. Like, why don't you do video? I just couldn't have been more happy that all of you guys had come out. And so basically I begged, I pleaded, I offered my body to get Adam back on the show to talk to you guys that were there. I just thought that would be fun, and obviously those were there. We wanted to do a Q&A, but the theater wanted us out at a certain time, so we just couldn't make it work. But I know that the big question that I had listened to a lot as you guys were leaving, is Ellis Cinema going to start his own film festival? I'm going to be honest with you guys, at this exact time, I don't know. I really don't know. There was some sort of cosmic thing that made me feel that I should screen this movie or show you guys this movie. So if and when I know, I'll let you know. So we ended up showing A Ghost Waits at the Maumee Theater. We'll ignore the fact that the marquee and the letters weren't exactly what I thought it was going to be. But back to the whole film festival thing, you have to understand, I thought A Ghost Waits was so unique and also one of my favorite films of the year. Before I go head over heels into the festival game, I really got to see more films like this. Not that they don't exist, but like I said, it was very cosmic in terms of how this came about and why it happened and everything. So I'll keep you posted on that. Until then, just stop asking me, for crying out loud. So as I said, I begged, I pleaded to get the writer, director, editor, second cameraman, the whole nine, because as we discussed on shows previous, everybody had their hand in this, whether they were acting, they were also getting coffee, whether they were, turning in a powerful performance, they were also holding the boom mic. So Adam did everything, and he was gracious enough to come back on the Ellis Cinema podcast to talk to all you that were just came out in droves. I thought there was going to be 11 people, and that's not what ended up happening. So, ladies and gentlemen, joining the show for the sequel, writer-director Adam Stovall. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm really good. I'm glad that, you now also have the experience of you do something and the very first thing people say is, what's next?
Yes. Oh, my gosh, dude. And it has been, I'm not even kidding you when I say, it is the most interaction that I have had with fans of the show probably ever. And I think it's because we decided to go that next step and kind of, get everyone together and have this, as mentioned on the shows previous, this very communal experience. And it was, man, everyone's laughing together. Everybody clapped at the end, sir. Everyone. And I was blown away at the response, because I think, like I told you, even when I got up on stage and kind of did my little spiel before the film started, I even told them, I said, look, 50% of you are probably not going to be into this as much as I am. Another 30% of you are really going to enjoy it, and then the other 20% who may not be as seasoned a viewer of stuff are going to be kind of perplexed. And I was completely wrong. I would say 95% of the people loved it, and 5% of the people were just like, I don't watch enough to have those genres blended in that way. And I liked the movie. I think what I saw was good. I don't know what to make of it. So what a overwhelmingly positive response that we got. So what I decided to do is turn this show over to you guys. And, well, I just didn't want to work. I think maybe that's the end of it. I didn't want to work. That's not true. And so that's what we're doing here today. He was nice enough to come back on the show to answer some of these questions. Now, Adam, I know some of these are going to be stuff that you have heard over and over again. Some of this stuff you may eye roll, and some of the stuff I think you might giggle at. So, are you ready, sir? Are we ready to do a little Q&A with Adam Stovall?
I'm ready to A your Q's.
Yes, that's what I like to hear. So, first question. I promised all these cats that I wouldn't use last names, so I intend on doing that. So I made sure that this question was first because it was easily the most prominent when I had put out text and group messages. This was the one that came back the most and should be no surprise to you. Cecily asks, why did you choose to shoot in black and white?
Well, Cecily, we actually shot in color. Early in the process, when I remember being on a location scout, I love the black and white aesthetic. I love old movies. I love new movies that are in black and white. I just really like the aesthetic. And I remember saying to my unit production manager, Chenny Chen, while we were on location scout, hey, I'm thinking about making the movie in black and white. And she said, no, absolutely not, because black and white is a really hard sell these days. We actually got a lot of notes from festivals and distributors purely because of black and white. So we shot in color. We plan to release it in color. I actually still have a mock-up on my computer of what Muriel was going to look like in like scary mode in color. It's awesome. But Mike Potter shot principal photography, which was 12 days in August 2016. And when we had to come back and do pickups, we didn't have any money left over, so I was shooting those. Mike was using his camera, which is a Blackmagic Versa Mini, which is a 4K camera, as well as my Blackmagic Pocket Cinema, which is a digital 16. I exclusively had my camera. Mike had a minimal lighting rig. I was using just natural light outside of one scene that we couldn't use natural light for, and we just got some work lamps. And all of that stuff is to say that when I was cutting it together, there was a little bit of dissonance between images. When you cut the pickups next to the principal photography footage. And I was using, I went into color correction to try to bridge that gap. And it's entirely possible that nobody would have noticed, and it was just me driving myself crazy, which is a thing I do a lot.
That makes two of us, if it makes you feel better. That makes two of us.
Yeah. So I wasn't happy with it. And MacLeod and I are shooting this thing back and forth, trying to solve. And one day MacLeod says, hey, have you thought about making it in black and white? And I said, I have actually. And there's a thing called an LUT, which is a color correction algorithm. You drop it on the footage and it kind of adjusts it to a specific look. And so I took a black and white LUT, dropped it on the footage, and immediately It was just like, oh yeah, this is the movie. Like this is what it's supposed to be. Especially seeing Muriel in black and white. Oh my god. And so we got a really great deal from Ari Rothschild. He over the course of a weekend, we just sat in his Brooklyn apartment and he worked magic, and that's what you see now. And I think it's one of these places where creative and technical decisions, there's a really great marriage of the two, because while it is technical, while the source of the decision is technical, I do love the aesthetic, and it makes me very happy, especially in the course of making this thing. There's no telling if we're going to make another movie. So I had it in the back of my head that, like, I wanted to make decisions that even if I never make another movie, 20 years down the line, when I still have this, I'm happy. I'm really proud of. And the idea that I got to make a black and white movie in, the 21st century makes me very happy. But Mike Potter has a great answer for this, which is that by taking the color out of the world, it kind of bridges the gap between the two characters. A walking, a dead guy who's walking around basically, and a ghost who's re-experiencing the spark of life. It kind of brings these worlds together in a way that is very even, far more so than it would be in color. That's the kind of thing you get when you hire a smart DP. But yeah, no, we actually shot it in color and intended to release it, but it just didn't work out that way. And I'm really happy that it didn't. I love how it looks.
Yeah, I was actually, and you had sent it to me previously, but I went back and I went through all the bonus features of that Arrow release, which is amazing, sir. Absolutely amazing.
Thank you very much.
And yeah, I remember Michael saying that. And that, I think, of course, if you're in the know, you know that, but for people that, aren't in the film game, I thought that was a really great way to put it, is that, it's so true. Like, if you would have had it in color, it takes the isolation out. It takes what exactly both characters are going through, and if you bring it to color, like, you're essentially, this is warmth, this is life, and that's not what we're talking about, so another
aspect of it, I think, is that something I really love about early cinema and early television is that you get to see it in its primal state. It's very primal storytelling. We are inventing it as we go, and there's something about Soderbergh did an experiment. Steven Soderbergh did an experiment a couple years ago where he took all the color out of Raiders of the Lost Ark. He made it a black and white silent film where it was just black and white and score, and it highlighted the blocking and everything. And I think because we were trying for a simplicity, that was what we felt was our strength, was just telling a very simple story in a simple way, so that we weren't trying to, reach beyond our grasp, any of that stuff. There's something about the classic feel of it that is a really particular embrace of simplicity, I think.
So Sean has a question. I'm Sean. Will we get to see a Stovall Snyder cut that is in color and also 5 hours long?
No, you will not.
Okay, all right. Just curious. Sometimes I think of these things on the fly. So let's go to another question. Alex asks, do you have a favorite piece? You know what? I should have put these in order, but again, I like the whole organic thing. Alex asks, do you have a favorite piece of dialogue from the film? Which is weird. I just want to tell you, Alex, when you fancy yourself a writer, it's kind of an odd thing to say. Now, only because it depends on how it transfers on screen, and I'm sure to a certain extent Adam would agree with that, but because when you're writing it, when you're the writer, it's